here we go. Day 10 of the Java Stack. This is the morning session. Today is login and registration. So I don't really know how to teach login and registration without doing login and registration. But at the same time, I'm not supposed to do core assignments. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drive. You guys are going to navigate, and we're going to do login and registration together. Okay. So I'll give you guidance. I'll sort of point you in the right direction, but I'm going to endeavor not to give you any code that's not on the platform. Okay. So you guys are going to tell me what to do. I'm going to start. So the reason I'm doing this is I think this is kind of a tough assignment. When I was certifying for this stack, I had a hard time with it. It took me several hours to do. So I want you guys to have a resource available. I'm not going to give you the code. I'm going to do the code, but I'm not going to put it on GitHub. Okay. So that way people who are, a little bit behind and when they're going to do this in a couple days, they have the video as a resource. Sound good? You guys all with me?
Yep.
You're going to talk to me, right? Please? Somebody? Anybody?
Of course. Surely they will.
I'm behind, but I'll try.
Yeah, I mean, just because you're behind. I mean, it's basically just a sort of nuanced version of what we've been doing so far. So it's not. I shouldn't make it sound like a terribly difficult, impossible assignment. It's not. So anyway, enough.
Which assignment is it? Is it
login and reg? So if we go to the platform, scroll past the MVC section.
Oh, Java Spring. Okay, I went to
into the full spring. Okay, so this is the second to last core assignment, I think.
Apologize. I was looking too far.
Yeah. So this one right here. Okay, so we're gonna do this as a class, basically. Okay. So where do we start? What do we do? I don't know. I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember how to make a Spring Boot app. I'm freaking out. What do I do?
Control-Shift-P.
Control-Shift-P. There we go. So Control-Shift-P. Spring Initializer. Create a Maven project.
3.0.10.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I think we're learning Java, right? So let's do Java. I'm going to call this co.tylermaxwell just to be consistent. I'm going to call this login and reg kebab case. I'm going to make a jar file. I'm going to make use 17, and the Visual Studio Code gives you the option of using the dependencies you used last time. So is everybody cool if I just hit enter? And,
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to put this in the root. So I'm just going to generate it into the root of our application. I'm going to open it in a new window. Close all this stuff. Now what?
Update your POM file.
So again, my suggestion is use, even for this assignment, even for, getting into the other end stuff, go back to that section, the appendix, and use that as your guide, because you'll have everything you need if you use this as your template, if you will. So I'm going to start at the application.properties. So I'm going to copy this. And Emmanuel, you're right. We need to do the POM, but I'm just going to go sequentially through this. So back in login and reg, open SRC, open main, open resources, application.properties. Okay. We're going to paste that code in here. What do I need to change in here?
Your database name.
So I'm going to call this login. I'm sure I have a login and reg database. So let me just do login and reg like that. And let me make sure I have that. So I'm going to copy this. If you're on a Mac, another thing you might have to change is your password. But I'm on Windows, so I just leave it like this. So now I'm going to go to my SQL Workbench, make sure that my schema is in place. So I'm going to go back here, create a schema. I'm sure I've got a bunch of login and reg. Yeah, I've got a couple of them. So don't think I have the one I just did. Okay, so I'm going to generate the schema. Cut and paste it so I'm sure that it matches. Apply, and good. Cool. And just make sure my schema was generated. Log in. It's this one right here. Cool. Okay, so now I got my application.properties set up. I'm going to go back to the appendix. And this time we're going to need all of this, right? We're going to need the dependencies, just dependencies for displaying all this stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is copy the whole thing, go into my POM file, and I'm going to replace my dependencies with this. So I'm just going to take all the dependencies that are in there and just replace it with the dependencies in the appendix section. Cool. Now what?
Do you have to
Create
JSP
the web
file
app.
next?
Yeah. So we need a JSP. So let's do that. Let's just take the template from here. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and
You have source main.
inside
and you
main,
add a folder called web app.
add a folder called web app. Add a folder inside that called
web-inf.
web-inf. And then I'm just going to call it index.jsp in here. Okay, paste. Let's see. All right, we'll come back to that. Okay, so I think we're set up, except for we got to go into Java, login and reg, and what do I need in here? Excuse me, what do I need in here?
Models and controllers folders separately.
Right, so we need a models. So I'm going to make a folder called models. I'm going to make a folder called services. Make a folder called controllers. And make a folder called repositories. Cool. Now for login and reg, there's a lot of starter code on the platform that they give you. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I know normally we'd write these out, but I'm gonna use the code that's on the platform, even though they kind of do it a little differently than I would do it. But just so everybody's on the same page and we stay as close to the platform as possible, I'm going to use their code as a starter. And it's free code, right? So let's go to Fullspring. And they start with the code on the project setup, I think. Yes. Well, those are the dependencies. Never mind. They give you the models here. So we're going to start with their models. So there's two models, and this I think is a little bit on the confusing side. It's not terrible, but there's a login user model that is really the only purpose is when we log in, we don't want to persist the password and we want to do a comparison, but we don't want to save the password anywhere. So we want to have this login user for login. And I'll talk more about, we're going to do registration first, and we'll do login probably this afternoon. So let me just stop here real fast, just a brief intercession. What is login and registration? What are we doing?
We're giving access with credentials.
Right. Yeah. We're checking credentials. So what is registration? What are we doing when we register a user?
We're adding them to the database.
Yeah. All of registration is adding them to the database, right? There's going to be additional check in there. We want to make sure that there's no duplicates. We want to see if they're already registered. But for the most part, we're just adding a user to a database. We just made our schema. We're going to be adding users to it. Okay, so let's start. Let's grab the user. So this is user. This will be our user model. So let me copy this code. Go into our models. New file called user.java. And I'm just going to paste the code from the platform in here. Okay. Same thing. We want a login user. So let me copy this code. Okay. And just paste the code in there. Okay, we'll get to login. I don't think we'll get to it this morning, but we'll get to it. Okay, so those are our models. Let's see what else they give us. So they pretty much give us a controller. So let's use this too. So this is they call it home controller. So I'm gonna copy this, go into my controllers, and make a file. What should the file be called?
Home controller.
Controller, right. Right, so the file name has to match the class name, and I'm just going to paste the code in here. Cool. Do the imports, Alt-Shift-O. This one. Cool. Now we have a controller. It's going to serve our index.jsp. Let's see if it works. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. Let's find out. Cross your fingers, hope it doesn't crash. Cool. We didn't crash. Let's go to localhost 8080. And we got tacos. Cool. What should I do next?
Go to your JSP and do the front end part.
Cool. So let's go to index.jsp and let's start adding a registration form. Do you guys want to do this, or do you want me to copy and paste a form for you?
Copy paste, or we can do it.
You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it it's a good exercise. So let's make an H2 called registration.
Want to make it look nice?
You know I do.
All right, let's do it. All right, give that H2 a class name of display 1. Make it real big. Display -1.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's do what's the dark mode?
Yep. Data -bs -theme. Oh,
Data equals, right?
data. The attribute is called data
Oh,
dash
I'm sorry.
bs. Yeah. -bs -theme. Yep. And then set that to dark equals dark. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice, nice. Now we want our card. So let's make a card here. So dot card. Let's put a shadow, dot shadow. Oh, put a shadow on there. Make it nice and 3D. Inside the div, we'll do a dot card dash body. Nice.
Are you doing
Now
this from memory?
Yep. We'll need a form.
Exciting.
Form. Okay. Form.
You want a form?
Form. Yes, I do. Form.
Okay. Now in here, you're going to want a .mb3.
MB-3.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then in here, you want your label. So form label. You can put it why is there a blank line there, my friend?
What? Here?
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm not sorry. I'm not writing my code pretty enough for you.
What do you want? First name? What do you want?
What are we doing? We're doing username, email, password, confirm password.
Username. Yeah. The label takes a path, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And my path is username.
Do we need to set that model on the form?
Yeah. Well, I'll get there. We'll
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then after the label, we'll do a form input. And we'll give that a class of form-control.
Class form-control,
Correct.
which
And
does
your
not go
label-
on the div. And I misspelled name. Give me 1 second.
And your label should have a class of form-label. And that's how your inputs are going to look. Everything's
Cool.
going to be in, that. So you want a separate div. Yeah. Form errors. Yep.
You want a separate
So
div for the errors or just
No. Form
okay.
errors is good. Yep. Then you want a class name. Path. Cool. Yep. We can get some class names on here as well.
Yeah.
So with this, you want a class of form-text to make it small. And also,
Nature.
I actually
Text
like
danger.
I like text warning actually, because the red is hard to read on the dark background. Yellow is a little better to read.
Cool.
And that's you're going to copy that div for every one of your inputs.
Sweet. So I need a username, email, password, confirm password. Okay, so this is going to be, nope, too far.
Wrong one.
Oh, thank you. Email. I can't wait to see how beautiful this is. Email. And, oh, come on. This is password. Am I going too fast for you guys?
No.
Okay. And the last one is confirm.
Richard C. Ye of little faith.
Okay. And this is going to say confirm password. Cool. Almost forgot my input. Do you want to make this pretty or just?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
All you want is a dot, submit dot b class name, yeah.
Okay. Class
Is BTN. And then BTN dash primary is nice. There you go.
Okay. Let's check it out. I want to see what this looks
Your
like.
value should, your value,
Oh.
your it's not gonna say anything.
Good point. Let's do register. Aw.
Bean name command.
Maybe because I don't have anything.
Oh.
Let's do action is going to
Thanks
be
a lot, Richard.
/ register. The method is going to be post. And what is our model attribute going to be? So we didn't write our controller. I copied and pasted it. So we got to look in
Oh,
there and
user.
see. Is it so? New user, right? Did everybody see that? Yeah? No?
Yeah.
In the chat. Cool. All right. So let's take that as our model attribute. I don't know why I'm doing that. Let's go to, and I already figured out what it is. New user.
user.
Right? Cool. Hope that fixes it. Oh. Okay. Cool. Invalid property username of bean class user. Bean property username is not readable or has an invalid getter method. Does the return type of the getter method match the parameter type of the setter? What is it saying?
Check your class.
Yeah.
Check the user class.
Let's go to the user
Model,
class.
right.
The model. Yeah.
Model, yep. User model. And look at that. They told me to generate getters and setters, but I didn't listen. So let's do that. So right click, Java code generators, generate getters and setters. Now
Do
let's
you not
try.
need the what do you call constructor with everything or no?
Technically, no. But you know what? Let's add it.
The only time you would ever really need that is if you are manually constructing an instance of the object, which if we're using form and our model attributes, we're never really going to do.
Right.
Oh, so
There's
it's
also
okay.
there's also those little snippets for created at and updated at. Do you have those?
I
Those
do.
Pre-update and pre.
Yeah. You guys want to add those?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's do it. They are in the model attribute, right?
No, it's over in models, just models.
Domain model. There we go. All right. So let's, I'm gonna, well, yeah, let's do this. So we need these.
I think you might have those.
Do I?
I think so, but double check.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got those. Oh no, you don't. You
No.
need them.
Yeah. So let's put the, I don't know if I copied them or not. Copy. So put those right here. Okay. Date. Which date do I use? There's going to be two choices.
The util one.
All right. The Java. So there's a SQL and a util. Unfortunately, Visual Studio Code's putting the one we don't want on top. So you make sure to take the second one, the Java util. Okay. And there was another piece here that, yeah, let's put these in our getters and setters.
Need to regenerate your getters and setters too, right?
Would there be a get?
Because you're missing your
The-
created at, yeah.
I'm missing what?
created at and updated at getters and setters.
Doesn't that function as a getters and setters?
Oh.
Not technically, no.
It does
Okay.
not.
Okay. Let's do it then. Generate getters and setters. I want them at the. I like to keep things in order, so put them down here. Cool. All right. Let's. We still haven't seen.
There you go. Let's have in our dark mode.
Yeah,
Let's look at that JSP
I
again.
might have messed it up. Let's see.
All right. On the HTML data dash B. That's
I think it's
right.
got to go on the body, not the HTML, right?
No, it's on the HTML.
You can go on HTML too.
Data dash BS dash. That should work.
Yeah.
Are you using 531?
I think
I'll
he's
think-
probably using the older version of Bootstrap.
Oh,
probably.
okay.
Oh, or you know what? No, Bootstrap's being applied.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't have the right version.
Oh,
Yeah, it's gotta be 531. There you go.
531.
Yeah. And then also 47 on your locator. Not sure if that matters. And might as well put everything in a container in your JSP as well.
Okay, yeah. Hmm.
Have to restart the thing because it's a
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because you're using a web jar.
yeah.
That's why I typically just use the regular CDN, because that way you don't have to restart.
There we go.
Much better, much better. All right, and we'll wrap the whole thing in a container.
Yes, sir.
Too far. Nope, that doesn't matter. Whoa.
Yeah, it's because all of those things at the top.
Ugh.
What I like to do is just temporarily cut those out and then format.
Ah, good idea.
Yeah. I'm just popping back in there. Yep.
Sweet. Now it's pretty. Oh my God. It's the most beautiful registration form I've ever made. And I didn't even make it. Well, I typed it. All right. So what's next?
Create a user, test it out.
Create a user. Yeah. So let's check out the instructions. So they, where is it? And again, if you're watching this in the future, they get what? No, I'm looking in the wrong place. Sorry. They give you a lot of guidance in terms of how to do this assignment. So the user login and register, that's what we've done. The next one, that's the controller. So let's go, just go next. Password security. I think it's in here. Yep, here we go. So we want to, when we're registering a user, we want to see if the user exists, right? So how do we do that? And let's see, do they give us a repository? Yeah, well, they give us a service. So let's do this. Let's do our service repository and all that stuff. So let's go into repositories, new file. I'm going to call it user repository.java. Is spell repository right? Yeah. Okay, is this a class?
Interface.
Interface. And what does the interface extend?
Card repository.
Why isn't it auto-completing? Oh. What's going on? Okay, that's weird. Autocomplete wasn't working. It was freaking me out. Okay, so what do we put in the generics for the card repository?
User.
Right. So what we're keeping track of, right? The entity we're tracking and the data type of its ID. Okay. Doesn't know what a user is. So we got to import that. And it's my user. Okay. And looking on the platform, they give us, there it is. They want us to override or create a find by email. Okay, so we need to get an optional user. And why would we get an optional user?
Because we don't know if it's already inside.
Yeah, we're going to search for an email. It may be there, it may not, right? Somebody could come in and try to register. We don't know if their email's in our database. So we need to return an optional user when we search for them. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. All right. So we've got our repository. Let's make our service. User service.java. And who does the service talk to?
Repository.
Right, repository. So how do they talk? How do I give?
Finish auto wire.
There you go. Auto wired. And then we say the type of object or type of object we're going to instantiate, which is a user repository. USER repository. And I like to spell it out, user repository. That's just my personal, you could just make it UR if that makes sense to you. Cool. So we've got our service, we've got our repository. What other connection do we need to make? Close some of these. Who does the service interact with? So it goes, the data goes from the repository to the service to the
user.
not the user.
Database.
To get data from the database, remember we have the MVC architecture, right? So we have the controller controls, right? So the controller is going to be the one that's asking for data to populate the view. So we connect the repository to the service. The next step is to connect the service to the controller. And so they have the code here for us. So I'm just going to uncomment it. And I'm just going to call this user service because okay, it doesn't know what either of these are, so I'm going to import them. And we haven't used the user service yet, so cool. All right. So, as Emmanuel said, we want to try to create a user, right? So let's look at the routes we have. So /, what is this route right here doing?
Goes to the page with the forms.
Right. So this is the route that's going to render our form. So if we go back to localhost, it's here somewhere. Here we go. That's the / route. That's what's rendering our, whoops. What did I do? I broke it. What did I forget to do?
Was it? Is it com or co?
Hmm?
Is it com or co dot? The package?
Oh, it's co. That's the way I've been.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I could say I did this on purpose, but I didn't. I actually forgot. What am I missing?
Could it be something in
Do you have a
your?
folder, or do you have a folder for users?
I have a, so it's
Yeah.
read the field user service in blah 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 home controller requires a bean of type blah 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 user service that could not be found.
So if you go all the way up,
wrong?
you might not have the.
You have the package.
Yeah, all packages are fine.
Is it?
What does the error? What file does this error reference? And I'm kind of like being obtuse on purpose, right? I'm trying to get you guys to see because you're going to see this error.
User service, right?
There you go.
So you
What's
need
wrong?
to go to user service.
What did I forget?
And scroll down. User service. Service at service.
There you go. If you forget that annotation, that's the error you're going to get. Okay, so I need to add the at service. Okay, so we have to tell Spring Boot that this is our service, right? It's not going to read our minds. So we need to designate, you know, it's not going to look in here because you could call this anything, right? You could call this, hey, my user stuff. Doesn't matter, but we have to provide the annotation so it's clear that this is our service. Okay, does that make sense to everyone?
Quick question.
Yeah.
What if we don't specify? Would it automatically be private or public, like the user repository? Because like in the platform, it says like private user repository after the auto-wired, right? So I was wondering, like, if you don't specify, would it be private or public?
Okay, good question. So the auto-wired the auto-wired is the annotation that handles dependency injection for us. So I could go to my controller and instead of using this syntax, comment this out, I can do this. I can say that this is a private final user service. This one, user service. And then I could generate my constructor. And it'll work the same way. So this syntax right here is equivalent to this syntax right here. So this is just a shortened version of this. It's creating the instance as a field in our class and then adding it to our constructor. Okay, so these two do the same thing.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So the private is because Spring Boot uses beans, right? So they have to have private fields. Okay, so this...
I was asking more so like, you know, like in line 24, if you don't specify it as private, would it be public or?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like the user service.
If you don't specify an access modifier, it's going to be package private, which doesn't have like a word, like it doesn't have a modifier that you put, but essentially it's like everything inside the same package can see it. And nobody else.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't see the private there. I usually don't put it. I usually don't include the private. But that's going to do the dependency injection for us. So this handles
Okay.
kind of in a more concise version of lines 25 through 30. Cool. Any other questions? All right. So what am I? Oh, Braxton's here. Okay. What's next? So we're rendering our form. Now we need to handle, oops, we need to do this part, right? We need to handle the form. When the user fills out the form, we want to create a user, right? So this right here, it says to do later. Now it's later. So we got to register a user. So what do I do? Who does the controller talk to?
The
service.
Service, right. So this is a little piece of code I'm going to give you because I don't know if you, well, let me ask. Will this work? New user. Will this work? Is this okay?
In the service, there's a register function,
Yes. Good. Yes, sir.
or in the copy paste.
Oh,
in
thank
the
you.
yes.
Felt like I was missing something. Thank you. Where is it? There we go. There we go. I want that stuff. Already did that. Let's go. Cool. That'll be helpful. Doesn't know what user is, so let's import user. And cool. So what do the register function, what do I need to pass in?
Is the new user result?
So I need to pass in both the user and the result, right? So we want to handle the validations in our service, right? So there's a reason for that. We'll get into in a second. So let's go back and so if I pass in the new user, and what else do I need to pass in?
The result.
Result, right? Everybody see that? And I'm going to change this to, like, what do they call it? Register. Good name. All right.
Quick question. If you've already explained this, I'm sorry.
No worries.
So you're passing in the new user you're creating right there?
Yes. So just a quick review. We create a model, and this is code that we got from the platform, by the way. So we're using that as a starter. So we have a new user as our model attribute. So if we go to our template, new user is our model attribute.
Okay.
So when this form comes back, when the user submits this form, we've got new user as what's going to come back, right?
Yeah.
So we're passing that new user into our register user service, and we're also going to need the result, and we'll see why in a second. Okay. So in the service, in the register method, what do we want to do? What are we checking?
Validations.
Mm-hmm.
So if the I think there's more in the learn platform that goes
Chris? Okay.
that tells
sorry.
you what to do. In the next
Next slide. Next
one,
lesson.
So I'm guessing like name validate, so length and stuff like that.
Oh, so they just give us, okay, cool. Pseudocode. Cool. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah,
Cool.
I was trying to do the assignment in the morning.
Okay. Cool.
So then the first thing is the email,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And what do you mean by email?
it says reject if email is taken, if it's already there.
Yeah.
So we want to do we want to do like a optional thing that it's like the
Like this?
user, yeah.
So optional
Mhm.
user. I'm going to call it user, I guess.
And then it's like get there's like a get by email somewhere.
Right. Yes. Where would that get by email be?
The repo.
There you go. So remember when we first made our repo, we overrode this find by email, right? So we want to find by email CRUD operation, right? We want to be able to pass it an email and get an optional user back. Okay. So back in the service, we're going to say optional user equals, and then who does the service talk to?
It's the new user that we. Oh wait, no.
So so we got to pretend like pretend we have a bunch of users in our database, right? We want to see if the user that's typed in the email that they've typed in, right, is in our database.
So user service find by email, right?
The repo.
User repository find by email. And where do we get the email?
New user dot get email.
Perfect. Cool. Okay.
Can we put that in a if statement?
Yeah, we can.
Right.
We can.
We will have an if
Like
statement.
the, what do you call, without doing the optional user
Oh.
or
No,
like-
because we've the repository is set up to take an optional to return an optional user.
I think it just means not making a variable to hold the user and just call the find by email as part of your if condition.
Oh. Okay, yeah. So not just so what if
and put the whole thing in, yeah,
gotcha.
and do is present or something like that.
Let's see.
Like after the get email, you do like a dot present. So that kind of checks the
Gotcha. Yep.
right.
So here Dot is present?
Yeah.
Sweet. So if it's, if it's present, what do we do?
And
That rejection thing.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we
reject.
say
Yeah.
result
Reject
dot.
value.
Somebody
Reject
did the
value.
reading. What is it?
Reject value.
Reject value.
It should be the email.
And this is email.
Error code should be unique.
Error code just has to be you
Yeah, it should be unique with a capital U.
yeah, okay, thank you. So yeah, it's capital email, right? Oops, what did I do?
Or the email
Uh,
doesn't need to be caps, but the unique, I think, is supposed to be.
That does, right? So it's got to be
No,
this,
that's unique is what it should be,
right.
but not email. It should be the word unique
Oh,
with a capital U.
but these all have to be different, right? For each one.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
I thought they did. Okay. And then error message, right? What goes here?
Email exists.
Yeah. And then I think this last one's optional, right? Yeah. Cool.
Reject value one has like different, when I'm looking at it, there's like 3 different ones with varying number of arguments.
Yeah, yeah. This is the one that I used. Is there another one, Christian? Or Cesar?
Yeah, I mean, there's versions where you don't pass in the error code, and then I think there's one with an extra parameter after. But
Yeah. But this one will be fine. This one works. So what now? If this is true, right? If the user's taken, then we add this. So in essence, what this is doing is adding this to our result object, right? So it's sort of packing it in, and if there is an email, then this will work in our error messages on our form. Cool.
You need to do the password too, right?
The one that the error validation they gave us, the middle one, they put like well, there's one that's like, it's for the password one. They give us a pre-made one for the password, but not for the matching.
Okay. Right. So okay, so let's see.
So for the next section, we have like a pre-made one.
Is it on the platform?
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's you scroll down more past.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you passed it. That is right there. This one.
That's for the, okay, yeah, that's for the confirm. Cool. So we'll put that one here, right? Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the code is just like whatever you want to call it, basically.
Yeah, it just has to be. I thought they all had to be unique. Like you couldn't have a repeat on any of these. Is that? I guess I'm wrong. I thought that these all the error code had to be unique for each one.
Might be the case.
Yeah. So I think what I did is I would just capitalize or change whatever field it is. So if the field was for email, I would just give it like something that's not going to be repeated. So unique is fine. I can use this matches, but make sure that they're just different each time.
So if you are creating one for the username, like you could do the same thing, but do find by what do you call username, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
For the unique thing. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
just do
yeah. But we don't know if we could have two usernames, right? If let's say that Emmanuel is somebody's username, right? There's a lot of manuals in the world. The what is going to be
Yeah.
unique is the email. Right? That makes sense?
Hey, you don't want username to be unique?
You can. But I
Yeah.
mean, but if it's not, right? Do they have you make a unique username? Can't you reuse usernames?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the assignment doesn't tell you to make, it doesn't say the username has to be unique.
Right.
so-
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Cool. So we're rejecting if the password confirmation doesn't match. What do we do next?
Then the next comment return null. Oh, if has if this thing has errors,
Right. And what is this
Oh.
thing?
result.
Right. So if result dot has errors,
Then return null.
return null. Perfect. Cool. Okay, so we rejected email if it's taken. We rejected the password if it doesn't match. Now we need to hash the password. How the heck do we do that?
What else?
It gives us the thing, the hashing thing.
Okay, they're giving you a lot of code now. This wasn't here before. Where do they give you that?
The bcrypt part. Scroll down. There.
Wow.
Hashed. Yeah.
Cool. So, okay, so let's take this. So we want to create the hashed users. So copy this. Paste. Okay, so what's that doing?
It's adding a salt thing and then hashing it.
Right. You guys remember how bcrypt works from Python? In essence, you're taking bcrypt takes the password and creates a hash from it. And the only way to go from the hash back to the password, the only way to go from the hash to confirm the password is if the password that generated the hash is supplied, right? So theoretically, the only place the password exists is in the user's mind, unless they write it down or tell somebody, right? So basically, it generates this long, crazy hash. I'll S out it so we can see it. And then, cool. So we set the password hash, and then next thing we need to do is save the user to the database. So let me move this down. And what else do we have here? Okay, that's for login.
And we have to set it. So we do the new user set. We have to set the password also.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's new user dot set password.
So new user dot
Set password.
set password
Hash.
to, and it auto completed for us.
Yeah.
Cool. To hash. Sweet. And
Return.
why is there return null there?
I think the platform gave it to you so it doesn't break the code, right?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Cool. So now what do we do?
Return user repository.
Sweet.
Not save.
Save. And what are we saving?
New user.
New user. Cool. Is it going to work? There's one way to find out, right? Let's see if it works. So I'm going to go to localhost. New guy. I don't know where that came from. Password is going to be password. Okay, so it went to /home, so that's a good sign. Let's see if it hit my database. Look at you guys. Cool. Any questions? So that is registration, right? I don't think we forgot anything. Yep. Yeah, that's good. Cool. So let's stop there because been and out. Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Emmanuel, did you say something?
I was going to say
Oh,
something.
Braxton, sorry.
Quick question. Did you guys do anything to the model for the when you're storing the hash password, since we know it's bcrypt, so it's going to be 60, right? Are we doing anything on the model side?
Let's see. We took the model from the platform. I don't remember if they do. I think they just set it to a string.
Just set it to a
They did
string?
max to 128. Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
cool. But that's just the max
but that's-
password size. So,
Yeah, because bcrypt would automatically be 60, right? So if you have 128, it will be fine.
is it 60? Is bcrypt 60?
Uh-huh.
It is, it is 60, but it depends on how many cycles you do. So, but yeah, the default, it should be 60 characters exactly for bcrypt.
Yeah.
I just remember back in Python they had us set it in SQL to
Yeah.
60 exactly. In the
But that's because
database.
we were creating the database and we were specifying the size of the varchar. So if I think the default varchar is like 45 or something like that, if you just let it generate. So we needed to
Mhm.
expand it to fit the. But here it's a string, so strings are plenty big.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily so much about not having enough space, but more about potentially having too much sometimes of like, if we know it's exactly 60, why allocate, 255 or, all of these extra characters that we know we're never going to be using.
Yeah.
Because it's still going to allocate that much memory and it's going to waste that memory, right? So, I mean, there are benefits to it, but yeah, there's yeah, it is what it is for when we're working with Spring. There are ways to customize the size with Spring. I think there's some extra annotations that you can do that are specifically for the table and not for like your field validations. But that's getting a little bit more complicated than we need to worry about for what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? That was awesome, guys. Thank you. I think, I felt like you guys did this. So thank you for participating. It was